Hey guys, have you been following the Antonio Brown situation in the NFL? This has been years and years of things that are just piling on top of each other, and now it looks like Antonio Brown may be out of the NFL altogether. What's interesting about this is that when I was reading some of the things about Antonio Brown and how his situation was building on itself, I couldn't help but think to myself that this is very similar to what's going on. And when I say very similar, guys, I don't mean exact. I'm talking about the pattern of things, the way, the reactions of the participants to the situations. You know, you can't always control the things that happen to you, but you can always control the way you react to them. You can always control the way you react to them. And when I saw the way that Antonio Brown was reacting to things, and Disney reacts to sort of bad news or bad situations, I was like, wow. It seems to me that Antonio Brown and Mickey Mouse have a lot more in common than what we think. They have a lot more in common. Let's go a little bit to the Antonio Brown situation over here. So if we look, Antonio Brown, he was playing for the New England Patriots for one game last week. They let him go. They let him go because new sexual assaults allegations came out after they had signed him. There was already something in the works before they signed him. New stuff came in afterwards. He did something crazy. He started sending text messages to the woman that was accusing him, including sending a picture of her children, insinuating, oh, bitch, I know where you live. Crazy. Now, Antonio Brown, he says he's not playing. He's more likely not going to be playing in the NFL anymore because these owners can cancel deals and do whatever they want, blah, 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 because Antonio Brown wants his money, his guaranteed money. He had a $29.125 million guaranteed contract from the Oakland Raiders and also a $9 million signing bonus from the Patriots. The Patriots, who, by the way, they knew all this stuff. They didn't care. The Patriots did not care that this guy was probably, allegedly, a piece of crap. That this guy was just no good. They didn't care because the guy could catch a couple of footballs. And he can help them win games, which he did in that first game. He caught a pretty sick pass, from what I understand. I didn't watch the game. But Brown didn't stop there. After he was released, he didn't just talk about wanting to get his money. He started blaming everybody else. Not really blaming everybody else. Let me take that back. He didn't blame everybody else. He started throwing everybody else under the bus. Started this woe is me campaign. Kraft got caught in the parlor. AB speculations. Fired. Different strokes, different folks, clearly. Insinuating that Robert Kraft, the owner of the team, who got caught in Florida, getting a massage or something like that and getting a happy ending. Nothing happened to him, but AB, there's speculations and something happens to him. Okay. And he's talking about Big Ben Roethlisberger. 4 games for Big Ben, crazy world. I'm done with it. He's talking again right now about the 2010 violation, personal conduct policy, right there, where Big Ben was accused of doing some things. Well, let me tell you something. This right here is textbook of a person that does not know how to take responsibility for himself, for his own action, that looks out at the world instead of looks into himself, that looks out in the world to see what's going on over there, what's on the other side of the fence, instead of saying, how am I going to take responsibility for myself, and how am I going to make myself better, bigger, greater than I could have ever been otherwise. Disney CEO Bob Iger says studio put out too many Star Wars movies too fast. how is this the same, man? You talking about a CEO, Bob Iger? He's talking about putting out Star Wars movies too fast. This other guy's accused of raping or looking at girls or doing crazy stuff. Antonio Brown is a football player. This Disney CEO, he's not. What's crazy? Here's what's crazy. Here's why I put them together. Because this is just another way of looking outwards instead of looking inwards and saying, wow, we really screwed up because we didn't understand our audience. We screwed up because we didn't understand our product. We didn't look inward to make a better product, to make a better movie, to respect the story, to respect our people. This is making an excuse. It's just like AB making excuses. Still wants his money. Does not want to take responsibility for what the things that he could have controlled. Now, Ryan Johnson, this guy right here. See his name right there. Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson, instead of taking responsibility for what he did and making a movie that was quite divisive, he instead went out and called all the fans of Star Wars racist, sexist, any kind of is he could figure out. Man babies. And much like AB, still wants that money. He still wants the money. He still wants his trilogy. Not sure when he'll start it. CEO Bob Iger goes out, disrespects the fans, continues to co-sign with creators that are not creating, but destroying. Like Benioff and Weiss. Like Ryan Johnson. That people who have no respect and they still want the money, just like Antonio Brown still wants the money. He don't want to take responsibility for his. He wants to look outwards. He wants to say, "Well, this guy did that, and this guy did that, and I didn't, and I didn't. I'm just being accused. I'm just being accused." And Bob Iger saying, "Oh, well, you know, we just put out too many too fast." I mean, it wasn't that the story sucked or that people hated it, or you know that we're hiring people that you know shouldn't even be anywhere near a franchise. It's not that we made a Galaxy's Edge based on a sequel trilogy that nobody likes instead of on the original trilogy, even though when we opened the damn thing, we didn't have Daisy Ridley there. We didn't have Oscar Isaacs there. We didn't have the girl who played Rose Tico. We didn't have her there. Who do you have? You had Mark Hamill. You had Harrison Ford. You had George Lucas. Where was Ryan Johnson? He wasn't there. So they make these mistakes, and instead of owning up to the things that they did and saying, man, I messed up, they double down. And what's worst of all is they still want the money. They still want the money. Well, you can't do that. Sorry, boo-boo. You can't do it. I don't know if he obviously denies that any of this stuff happened, Antonio Brown. Just like CEO Bob Iger denies that it was poor storytelling that has led to, or his poor decisions that has led to the disintegration of the Star Wars brand. And I'm sorry, people, it ain't her fault. It ain't Daisy Ridley's fault. She didn't write that her character was a Mary Sue. So it ain't her fault. It's definitely Iger's fault. This guy right here, his name is Bob Iger. So you want to know why Disney or Mickey Mouse and Antonio Brown are more alike? Because they are part of a generation that cannot take responsibility for the things that they've done, but still want the benefits. That's what Disney wants. That's what Antonio Brown wants.